Hey everybody, happy
Hey.
Thursday, and welcome to the Original Blueprint podcast. We are here live from Texas. I cannot even
Yes.
believe I'm here. Oh my God. Like, we're just sitting here like floored at how this even played out.
Yes.
And tonight, what we're going to talk about is how when you follow the signs from your higher self, how things work out for you. And we feel like this is important because we literally just did this.
hmm
We've been, we started talking on an app. Okay. From the app, we have done so many things together, doing rooms together, reading books together, all stuff on Clubhouse, doing all these different things.
Yes.
Working on Tangenique's beautiful art, her website, expanding her business. Like, we're I'm doing graphics and stuff. Like, we're doing all this stuff, right? Leading rooms, just doing all types of stuff. And then now I'm sitting in her living room.
It's crazy.
It's really
It is crazy.
it's but it's because we listened to our higher selves.
Yeah.
We literally got in alignment with ourselves. And that's how, like, when you're looking for your soul's purpose and you're not really sure like what to do,
Right.
that's what this is. And this is why it is so important. Like this conversation is going to be so important because a lot of people, they get this tug, or they hear this little inner voice, and they're like, it can't be anything.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
Or they're like, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. But like, we know nothing makes sense.
I'm talking about nothing.
But we do it anyway. But we do it anyway. We literally do it anyway.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about that tonight for a little bit. This isn't going to be a 2-hour ordeal as we've been doing lately. We're going to do a little shorter tonight. But we really just wanted to talk about like for you, what made you know that you could listen to yourself, that you could really trust what was going on?
I mean, I'm really say trial and error, really, because like it would be like stuff like I would hear, and like you just said, like I hear, we say, oh, something told me or whatever, and it's like you don't hear it, you don't listen to it, and then it's almost like it'll show you that, okay, you should have listened. And then
Yes.
you know what? It came to a point where I just was like, damn, I didn't listen.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like it could be something really small, and I'm like, okay, this is how it works, and it's not even like this big boastful thing, like, listen to me or nothing like that. It's more like very subtle, and it can be in different things. It can be something somebody else said or anything like that, right? And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say the confirmation, because it'll be like I hear something, then I don't follow it, right? But then that will be the confirmation that it'll come up that I should have followed it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now it's more like I'm following it, and the confirmation is still coming. It doesn't falter. It still happens like that, but you feel good about it because you followed it.
Because you listened.
Yes, and I'm like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, this is a whole different life for me, like a whole different mindset for me. And it's not even like it's something like that's not attainable or not accessible, like, or it's something all hard. It's just really just listening to yourself and knowing that that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
See, a lot of times, like, I know when I first started, like, really, like, I realized I had an inner GPS and I wasn't using it. So then I was like, wait a minute. If everything we know is already inside of us, like, why wouldn't I be able to ask myself? And then when I sat with myself, I'm like, all right, let me go out on a little bit of faith. Even though I thought what I was thinking was absolutely bonkers, I'm like, what do I know? But then I really got in alignment. I'm like, all right, what about this? Like, I gave just a tiny little nudge.
Yeah.
And then instead of ignoring my first instinct, I actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything worked. And then I found this book from it was Dr. Joseph Murphy, and it's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, all you have to do is ask your infinite intelligence. And I'm like,
but that kind of stuff seems so foreign when you just are so accustomed to
being like a person.
Yeah, or getting something outside of yourself and thinking that's it. But then it comes to a point where that comes kind of to a screeching halt. Kind of like that doesn't work no more. It's
once I did that and I saw that like I actually knew what I was talking about, it was over. That's all I needed. And then I just started asking myself, or I'd say, I have a thing that I say every day, and I'm literally like, infinite intelligence within me that knows all things. Align me with people, places, and experiences in my highest good. And then I release anybody that is not. And like, people drop like flies. Let's just be clear here. So if you say this, you're going to have people drop out of your life like they never existed. But it's also going to align you with people that are supposed to be there, places, and experiences. So as I started doing that and realizing that every day just led me to the next, I started taking everything one day at a time, because that's all you can control anyway.
Do, honestly.
And then once I did that, I really started trusting. And even though sometimes I still wouldn't listen, because I was still nervous, because I still didn't really, I trusted myself, but I was like, scary. But now, there's no other way to do this for me.
Yeah,
like, I cannot, now that I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is crazy, because even like when we wrote the book together, the book was trust in the universe.
The book was trust in the universe.
Literally. Like, and that started with a thought that became a tangible thing. Okay. So same thing with this. Like, we have discussed along the way and created our next experience for months now. And it's just what we're doing. And everything we talk about comes to life.
Yeah. You know,
like all of it.
I'm tripped out. I'm really serious right now. I'm trying to think. Because, okay, like, we put it out there, and then the how is really not,
it's not your business.
It really isn't, because we sat there and watched it all formulate, like, literally piece by piece to come to this point.
Hey, Nosley.
Hey, Nosley.
Like, literally, we watched it, like, boom.
It wasn't
boom,
like...
Boom, boom.
It wasn't like, oh, I got my ticket already planned out months in advance. It was like, literally like... Yeah. And then it just pieced together. And then...
From trusting. From trusting.
From trusting. From trusting. It's not this whole... I don't know if people say cheat, but... It's not this whole thing that you know what I thought about today earlier is that it's like when you try to put so much thought into something.
Yes.
That's your plans.
Right. And that's not what
your plans are not God's plans. You see what I'm saying? You're in the way of what
could be.
Yeah, is working out
literally
behind the scenes in your behalf.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? It's not the way that you think it's gonna be. Like all this cookie cutter type stuff. No. You're in the way.
And that's, people don't realize that's just like when you're trying to like manifest something. People are like, I want to make $10,000 a month. But what if you're supposed to make more than that? What, when they're like, oh, I want a house that looks like that. But what if you're supposed to live in a bigger house? What if you're supposed to live somewhere else? What if you leave it open? You don't know what you're going to get. It's not what you think you're going to get. It's probably going to be better than what you could have thought, because we can't put like a thing on it.
Yeah.
You know? It's really not a thing.
It's not. And I don't know. Like, this is so hard to explain. And this is why I be understanding the Diamond Sutra more. It's because you can't even describe what it is. It's like
No.
almost like, okay, you could say these words but it's still not gonna be it.
No.
It's not gonna be it.
Because you can't words are just, they're just really words. Like, you're trying to explain something that you can't even, because we don't even know how it unfolded. Like, we don't even know how it really happened. And that started even in the beginning. When we first started, like, becoming friends and talking, it really was just kind of like magnets.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we stayed in touch every day since.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always like a little piece of the puzzle every day.
Mm-hmm.
Together today, like and even leading up to this, like, we literally were like, all right, like, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come out there, and then, like, everything just kind of fell into place. Like, even to get the money to come out here,
mm-hmm.
fell into place. Like, everything was just having that blind faith. And I know for people that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tell you, that's all you have to do. Like, on the plane here today, I was like, am I on an airplane?
Mm-hmm. It's like a whole out of body experience.
That's, yeah, like, literally.
Even like right now,
even though
like, it's like, huh? Like, did I drive to pick you up?
Did we just eat dinner together?
Right.
It's so funny.
I know it probably seems just, but it's just really literally like, once you start really like going within and stuff like that, or whatever you want to call it, it's just such a whole new world.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a whole new world. And it's inside of you. Literally, it really is. It's inside of you. And it's like, once you come into alignment with it, it's like more of a free flow.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're really like disregarding anybody out your life or anything like that. But like you said, it's like more like, we really don't have to experience a lower density life.
Right.
We don't, because that's not really our inheritance. That's not really our true divine abundance. You know what I'm saying? So, but because we have been so programmed to do that, then it seems weird and foreign when things are going
your way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? It's almost like, because I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie, this is really being transparent. I really had a time in my life where things was going smooth, and because I was raising so much turmoil, it was almost like, I'm like, where's the turmoil?
Right.
It's like, where is it?
Yeah, where's
you know
the
what I mean? Like, it's gonna come around the corner, and I still like deal with that sometimes, but it's so much easier. It's like it's like, no, immediately, like, that's not it.
Right.
And
like, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah, it's more like you feel your way into it,
and that's a whole mindset thing too, though, because like we've said before, you're gonna create more of what you think about. So if you're sitting here thinking it's doom, gloom, roadblocks and stumbles and trips and falls, that's all you're gonna see. Instead of being like, you know what, everything always works out for me. And God, how good can it get? Because that's all I say now.
Yeah,
I want to know. Show me
how good it can get.
I want to know how good this can get, because every day it's something else pops up. And it's really because I believe in me. It's not even
nothing else.
It's not even anything else. Loving yourself and believing in yourself literally puts you in alignment with your higher self. And then if you listen, if you have faith that that's what's going on, you're going to see more of those things. You're going to see more abundance. You're going to see more prosperity. You're going to see more things working out for you, instead of seeing, I'm telling you, there was one point in my life where I had a tree fall on my car from a tornado. My other car went up in flames, on fire. But it was one thing after another. But I was also creating that, which is crazy, but it is true. I created more of those negative experiences. Now I prefer amazing experiences, and that's what we're creating. And you can do that with every breath that you take. Yeah. Every single one. Even when things are hard, You cannot stay in that vibration. You have to get out of it. And that's hard for people, and I get it. But like, if you listen to the little voice that like everybody's like, I know some people have a lot of voices going on. I get that too. Because I used to have that too, where I had all this other stuff going on, all this clutter. But when you get quiet, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. I'm gonna get the charger.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like spiritual warfare. I feel like I think I kind of understand that even a little bit more too, because like I feel like I'm fighting against like, the lower density aspect of myself or my experiences. And like when they say you don't have to take that with you, that's really true, because once you get a different awareness or higher awareness, you have to debunk those lower vibrational thoughts. And it's not another person doing it. It's you.
Oh no. Oh, this charge is gonna give me a problem.
Right. It is.
All right, forget it. I'll put it in a few minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, it's like it's really just like you. And I think like when people talk about the shadow, your shadow stuff and all that. To me, I just feel like it's so many. I'm not saying it's not out there. People like really explaining it,
right?
But I feel like we have to be. We're here to be like transparent and to just like show like what we're actually experiencing, what we did experience, right, and how we even got here to this point. Yes. Because it's not like, oh, we just got here and bells and whistles, but it's like
a lot of work went into it.
It's work because you have to fight with your own self. You are literally in the boxing ring with yourself. Yeah, literally. You know what I'm saying? And then it shows you there's no room to even blame nobody else, because you are actually a creator.
Yes. Yep.
That was a hard pill to swallow that I created any of this, but it's really just the low vibrational density. But you have to understand all of that to even get what is even being said right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because most people right away, they're like, oh, well, it's so and so did that. This one did that to me. It's never the other person. It's you. Because you either allowed it, sat in it, or just didn't even realize. But at the end of the day, it's you, even if you don't recognize it. But once you do, you can then observe and go, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen again. And then you can I'm telling you, the listening piece, the listening piece is so important, because most people they think because people say like, all right, how am I going to word this? I know some people are like, well, I heard, and it sounds like they're like a swami or something, right? But that's not even what you're not hearing. Like maybe some people do hear full-on conversations. I don't know. But it's really it's getting
like
quiet.
And
yeah,
like I don't know.
Or you hear like sometimes I hear like a sentence, but I know it's me talking to me. It's a conversation with myself. When there were other times where, like I said, I had other voices like, telling me I wasn't good enough, telling me I couldn't do these things, or even like, who am I to be a leader?
All that.
Who am I to lead a room? Who am I to be reading the sutra? And then I was like, no, I know who I am, and that's why I'm reading it.
Right.
And that's why I am a leader, and that's why I am doing the things I'm doing. But that took me trusting my higher self to continue to guide me, which is how I'm sitting on Tangenique's couch right now, is because I could have sat and been like, well, I really like to come, but...
And I was like, don't you dare think the way, I don't know what I said to you. I was like,
think your way out of it.
And I was like, literally heard her thoughts. I was like, literally like, okay, don't you try to explain away not coming, because it's easy to do that being a mom. It's easy to
Well,
do
exactly.
that, thinking about, okay, this money could actually go on
to
this.
something else. But I knew.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I knew. I was like, I gotta go there because
So
I know
deep.
that this is like an energetic catapult for the next piece of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't just travel across the country to see anybody,
Mm-hmm.
like ever. I just wouldn't. And I knew I had to come here. Like I knew, and because I listened and got in alignment, everything unfolded, and I hopped on a plane. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
And we make everything so hard, and it doesn't have to be. And that's the other thing. When you don't listen to your higher self, you're making things hard
Mm-hmm.
for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you think of your higher self, when I think of it anyway,
mm-hmm.
I picture someone at a table, at like a big rectangle table, and they're like sitting there with a Nintendo remote, moving me here.
Right.
I think about like it's like this other worldly thing that is making me walk it out here.
Mm-hmm.
Not in like a puppet string way, but in a guidance way.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're playing a video game, you're getting your character bobbing and weaving through the game. And that's what our higher selves do for us. If you listen. But if you're not a good listener, you're not going to have things come easy to you.
You know, it's so funny that you're saying that, because that dream I had about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I hear you say that, I'm thinking about in the game aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was hitting a brick wall over and over. So think about if you are not recognizing you're in the game, you don't really know the ropes of the game. You're gonna your moves or whatever might make you do something that's not really good until you learn it. Right. And then I can remember me as the person in the game being like, I'm hitting a brick wall. You know what I mean?
I cannot move past this point.
Right. But the brick wall wasn't necessarily in the game. It was the brick wall. But in this life right here, it was like, okay, doing it your way. Yep. Doing it your way, thinking that it makes sense and it's logical for you to do it like this, right? But logical is not always that's not gonna just cut it. It comes to a time where that's not. You need to get in alignment with your higher self. Yep. And so in the dream, it was a big can like you're describing, like this with a controller. And it was like, okay, but then it's almost like it was telepathy at the same time, because I was like, okay, I'm hitting a brick wall, so okay, evidently I've come to my end, right, of me doing that. And it was like, okay, well come over here with me. And since I'm up here, I can see the whole game. I can navigate you through the whole game to the end of the game. And I was like, okay, because I was hitting a brick wall. Right. But guess what? People keep on hitting a brick wall, and the brick wall does not have to be, like I said, a brick wall. It could be in like relationships, right? You know what I'm saying? Anything. Addictions. Yep. Just all kind of circumstances, situations that you find yourself in that you really can't find your way out of. Right. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, that was just so. It's like so many things that can come in a certain way, but on a spiritual level, when you see it from the unseen, it's like a whole different ball game. Like a whole different ball game. Like for real. And you need your imagination to really make sense out of it. That's the thing. Well,
and speaking of imagination, I mean, we had discussed this in a room a few nights ago, and I just think it's so important for everybody to even know, because we're not taught how to create in this world. People don't even realize they are creators, but you're creating with every breath that you're taking. So when you're sitting and thinking, right, your thought is going to create for you. So you have to first think the thought. And there was a man that Tangenique brought up to me, and he explained it like 3D, 4D, and 5D. The 3D is us, okay? 4D is the thought, your imagination. And then 5D is meditating or listening to source
Mm-hmm.
to give you the directions to walk it out here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a formula that you can use over and over again with whatever you want to create. It's the same process. You have to think the thought, and it can be something ridiculous. Like, honestly, the more ridiculous it is, the better it is.
Mm-hmm.
Outlandish, crazy shit. Pick something so crazy that if it happened, you would just know it had to be because of what you said.
That part.
It has to make it personal to you that when it happens for you, you're going to be like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And you literally think the thought, you create it in your mind. And then you sit quietly and you listen to your higher self and say, how do I embody this here? How do I do this? And listen to what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take those actions and actually do them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's the action part of it.
Yes.
And the obedience part.
Well, and doing, I'm not saying if it's like, use your discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know, you want it to be something.
Yeah.
You're not going to just go do some random thing like.
But people are doing random things and they're getting random results.
And they're getting random results.
I'm
exactly.
just saying.
But really just like listening, seeing what you're being told. Like you have to feel it in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do the actions. If it's something for me, like even recently, we were reading a book on Clubhouse. I'm on the phone with Tanjanique. I hear, read the Diamond Sutra.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a room that night and we read the Diamond Sutra. That's it.
That's it.
It doesn't have to be hard. None of this has to be hard. None of it. Not any piece of your life. It's hard because we make it hard because we don't trust ourselves. But when you trust yourself, you automatically align.
So, yeah.
Right?
You're right. You're so right.
It's trusted. Mm-hmm. I know at first, when you're first like I don't even want to say getting into a spiritual practice because it's not even that. It's you. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it was me wanting to be the best version of myself and sitting with myself and going, what do I need to do to get there? And then whatever popped up, I was like, all right, well, let me try this. And then once I saw it was working, I just kept doing more of those things. Mm-hmm. So it really is just trusting what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm saying it sounds so easy, mm-hmm. but it is though. We make everything hard. We do. As people, we make things hard. For no reason. For no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
For no reason.
I mean, even if something comes up, it's just more of how you process it.
Yes.
Because if you're not going with what somebody else or just your environment says, or just it's a long line, a list of just things that we just really have believed. You know what I mean? But if you just dare to believe what you're hearing mm-hmm. from inside of you,
right, rather than everybody around you,
yeah, then it starts something. Mm-hmm. It ignites something.
Yes,
and then it becomes perpetual, and you just gain momentum.
Yep.
And then you don't ever want to stop feeling that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't ever want to.
Because you know it's confirmed. Like, you're like, all right, well, I did this, mm-hmm. and this is what I saw. I did this. And, like, even, like I said, the book that we wrote in, that was pure faith. That was having an idea.
Yeah.
Walking the idea out. Watching it come to fruition. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when I realized how powerful we were as mm-hmm. creators. Mm-hmm. Because that was a literal thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
That was it.
That was like a thought.
It was a thought that blurted out that we then held in our hands. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole product was
in your
finished product
in your hand.
Yeah. And regardless to whatever, that's what it was.
And like even as we sat on Clubhouse and talked all this time, now I'm physically sitting in your home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. It's a thought you listen,
Mm-hmm.
and then you follow through. Because if I really sat and thought about it and talked myself out of it,
Mm-hmm.
because see, that's the other thing. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know, like, I should save my
I
like,
heard
I should
you.
save
I
my
heard
money.
you. I was like, look,
because school's coming
yeah,
and but I was like,
and
if
what I
I
look like
find it, well, that's the
not
thing, like,
buying the kids stuff for
yes,
school
versus what I need to do in order to expand myself.
I mean,
you
yeah,
know, because really, that's at the end of the day, like, we forget how important it is to expand ourselves because we're so busy taking care of everybody else.
yeah,
And that's okay. It's okay. Those are your people. However, I sat and I was like, Melissa, you gotta go. I needed to energetically disconnect from where I was at.
and also do what you haven't done.
Yes,
because
that's the
like what you always
energy
do like
something different.
Like one thing, just do one thing different.
Yep.
Than what you always do.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because you don't want to be like, dang, I should have.
Exactly. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
And then that was the door.
Yes.
See, people, and I just say people just to be saying people, but I'm saying, sometimes we like think that, oh, this is the door, but it's not a door, like a physical door. It's a door. It's an opening out of the norm that you usually do. You see what I'm saying? Yep.
It's literally creating a new. Like, I could do the same thing every day over and over and over and over. But when you are like, all right, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this, it jars the system and throws it into like something else. And it's like, wait a second. That's how, like,
it's like Inception.
Yeah, literally. And that's why I was like, this is like an energetic catapult that I'm about. And I even said, when I get there, I already know. Like, we have so many things that are on the horizon anyway, but this is the catalyst that will bring it.
Right.
Because we created all this energy, not even seeing each other.
What?
But
I just thought about something.
What?
Sphere. Because like it's like, because think about it, you're in this whole bubble of like.
Yep.
Because think about, okay, so we wreck these cosmic laws.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that.
They were talking about. They were talking about a lot.
Because think about, like I said, we could always talk about somebody else, but until you're talking about yourself, you're really not talking about
anything,
right?
Yep.
So when that one, I don't know which one it was, because I'm gonna get to know them by heart, because I need to. But when they're talking about when you created, we was talking about a little bit earlier, when you're kind of like becoming some type of character that you
the portrayal.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, the portrayal.
Okay. And I don't know why that's one of my top ones too, because it's like, okay, after you do all that, right, then you don't recognize that you're like in this whole prism, right?
Yes.
And then when you call yourself aligning with yourself, then that's when the door gets created out of that prism.
Right.
And you sphere your way through.
I love it. Because we don't.
And then, sorry,
no,
but that's the way. Wait, but you have to continue. When you find yourself in that place, you have to continue to do it. That's what makes it a ritual, because you got to keep in mind, what did you do to get out the last situation? It might not be the same situation,
right.
But it might just be, okay, I got to get, when you realize that, okay, this is Groundhog's Day.
Yes.
Something about this has to change. Then you pull out that bow and arrow.
Yep.
Pop that bubble.
Yep. And then just start somewhere else.
Man.
Because that's literally, like, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're getting the same result, same result, you have to switch it up. Even if that means getting on an airplane. No, really, like, it's
crackers.
Yeah, like cheese and crackers today. But I mean, P.S. I don't know who needs to hear this. Do not fly Spirit Airlines. Thank you. That's my public service announcement. The flight wasn't bad. The flight was actually not bad.
They're great pilots.
They were great, but I had to pay for cheese and crackers and water, and
And I was parched.
Yeah, and there was no charges on the plane either. So there's that. But I'm just saying, like, you have to break out of what your norm is to create the newness you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I didn't, and I'm not saying it's easy. I was nervous. I was nervous because I'm like, all right,
the whole way.
I'm gonna spend money. I don't know if I should be spending it, and but I knew if I was supposed to, I knew it would come up exactly how it should, and that's what happened. It wasn't hard,
mm-hmm.
and that's another thing. I think people sometimes, because you get stuck in the struggle,
mm-hmm. you create more of it.
You think things are supposed to be hard because
mm-hmm.
you think you're supposed to be, like a martyr,
mm-hmm.
and it's really not that serious.
Mm-mm.
It's not even that serious
mm-hmm.
at all. You're supposed to have like a flow. Everything's supposed to be easy and effortless.
mm-hmm.
But when you listen to your higher self, that's what happens. That's what happens because you're putting trust, and then you see more trust, and then you're putting in, like, I know we have said before, like, it's almost like you go in blind. Like when we're listening for divine direction, like we're listening and doing what we heard, and that's it.
That's it.
And it's not easy to always trust because, you're afraid somebody might judge you,
mm-hmm.
or somebody else isn't going to understand it, or your husband's not going to like it, or your mom's not going to like it,
mm-hmm.
or this. But it doesn't matter, because if you're following your heart and you're following what you hear, you cannot go wrong.
No.
You can't do it wrong.
Mm-mm.
You can't. It might take you a little longer if you don't listen the first time. That's a big thing. If you don't listen the first time, it takes a little longer.
mm-hmm.
Because you're out, your energy isn't, it's almost like when you build up a lot of energy and everything's trucking along, you got momentum and you're going,
mm-hmm.
but then you stop believing. The energy goes from here to boop, and then you're like,
oh man,
you're like, well, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep believing and just trusting in what you're doing,
mm-hmm.
you'll be able to feel that in your body. Like I can feel the minute something is not right, my body, I get this tightness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like red alert, danger. And I'm like, I gotta look at what this means.
Right.
I gotta look at this person and what this is saying to me.
See, it causes you to observe.
And that's really when you're, because you're supposed to be anyway, but we don't even know this. My parents did not grow up saying, Melissa, you really need to observe your relationships and your surroundings. No one said that shit to me. No one was parenting anybody.
No,
I was not getting parented. I'm sorry.
Don't even start.
I love my mom and dad. I was not getting parented. And that's okay. Because I know that this is exactly how it's supposed to go. And I'm grateful because I tell you no lies when I tell you that to this point, to where we are now,
mm-hmm.
I've learned all of this on my own. I have not paid someone to teach me this.
You really can't.
I have not sought out people to give me none of this.
Mm-mm.
This is me doing me for me.
But even with that, you can pay all the money you want. You can do all that stuff.
You can't, yeah.
But guess what? If it resonates with you, you're the deciding factor at the end of the day.
Oh, of course.
So I don't think people are really getting it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to really, like, at the end of the day, it's going to be you. Like, you think that it's something that you got from somebody else.
Yeah, no.
But really, it's how it formulated in you to even carry it out at the end of the day.
Yep.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if your mom told you, your dad told you, so-and-so told you, so-and-so all this money told you, and you're trying to figure out how they did it and do it in the steps that they did it and all that. Okay, great. You still have to formulate inside of
yourself.
Period.
Because really, I know it's easy to see other people and people are like, oh, wow, so-and-so does this. But you have to do it for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, ever.
Mm-mm.
Ever. And even, I know, I'm not saying it's wrong that people pay people to teach them things.
No.
You like it, I love it. For me, I like to take what I know to be true inside of me and expand on it. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody knows you can do that.
Right.
I know that I could do that because I literally pulled myself out of the depths of hell by listening to myself. By saying, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, what this can't be it. And like, then I wound up doing different YouTube videos, different meditations, different like subconscious reprogramming. Like, I didn't know how to do this stuff, you know? Right. This is stuff that came to me to do.
Yes.
And I could have said, I don't know what this is. And I could have thrown it in the garbage and called it a day. But instead I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose?
Right.
Like, okay. So I'll listen to some stuff in my sleep. Okay.
That's like the very thing you needed. Right.
I didn't know it was going to work, but, and it was exactly what I needed. And for each piece, I had guidance from myself. And I wasn't, because how do I look going to some other person and saying, can you show me how to fix me? Because I don't know. It just never made sense to me. And then when I figured out that the guidance was in me already, I was like, Melissa, what do you need to do? And then every day something would unfold. It wasn't overnight.
But see, like you say, it caused you to ask the question. Like,
yes. Yep.
Like, Melissa, what do you need to do? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. At the end of the day. I mean, you can mimic somebody all day long or whatever. You can do all that. But really, for you to get the real, like, motion inside of yourself going, like, it's a whole different experience. I'm sorry. It just is. And then learning my whole, and when you say abundance, it's not necessarily like we talked about already. It's not about just like money, but it's just about access to the all.
Right.
Where there's no not compartmentalizing anything or feeling like you have to get it or usurp it off of somebody else.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
No,
because the thing about it is, if that person is meant to bring it to you, it's still source that is
bringing it to you.
Yep.
Even if you don't, even if it's, and that was the biggest thing I learned. Like that thing with my dad.
That was deep.
That was huge.
That was deep.
And even like.
But you see how the understanding came?
Yes.
Through your experience.
Right.
It's the same, like you say, formula.
Yep.
But it has to be so individualized.
Yes. Because it's different for everybody.
It's different for everybody, yet I can still relate to you on that because then that causes me to look back through and say,
right, what do I have to look at?
Yeah, or like, dang, that was source that did all this whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even like even when we were talking earlier about like somebody lends you money, but that day somebody gave them money and then they had the money to lend to you. Like, that was source working through.
That's the thing.
That was very exciting. But that's the thing. Like, it's literally working through. And I think with abundance, people think it's just money. It's love. It's relationships. It's happiness. It's all different things for people. But when people get caught, they get caught in the trap of, oh, I need money to be happy. And it's like, do you though? If you're happy first, you're going to automatically attract it because your vibration is whoop, you know?
And wait a minute. This is what really killed me just now. Channeling. So when I think about channeling, right, I think about a channel that you can channel something through. Right. And then I also think about when people are talking about you channeling something. What are you channeling?
Right.
Are you channeling source of your supply? Or are you trying to channel other things to get something.
Right.
Other entities, other whatever to get something.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. Are you using it to usurp, or are you using, like, because a lot of people, when even like when you said the other day, like, think of a TV with a channel. If you're in alignment with your higher self, that's what channel you're on.
That part. Yeah.
But then when it comes to other entities, things, everybody and everything may very well come from source. It does come from, everything's from the same source. But that doesn't mean the energy behind it is the same. And I feel like the more, like, as we're growing and remembering and just seeing how sometimes people want to see things differently, even though they, like, it's almost like people know the answer, but the answer's not good enough for them. So they're like, well, let me see if I can do it this way. And that goes right back to what you were even just saying. Like, your plan and God's plan are not the same. So, like, you can't, like, this subject is a real heavy hitter for me right now, because, some people in the world, people channel things all the time. There's different spiritual gurus and, wait, what does it say? Joseph Campbell explained it to the divine. Yes, an innate connection. But the thing is, like, people will, they're saying they're channeling other entities. And for some people, that is totally fine if that's your thing. But for me, it's like, I'm my higher self. Why would I have to go find something else to work through me? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense to other people. I know, just like, for instance, Abraham Hicks, that whole thing. But that's her channeling another entity. And if, like I said, if people like to do that, you like it, I love it. But for me, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm already connected to my higher self. I'm connected to source. Why would I need to outsource to another entity, being? That's just me.
Each his own. But I find right now that that's not nothing that I really have to do. That
you need to do, because it's all in you. And that's even, like, I know we've talked about before. I'm not sure we've gone down this path on this podcast before. But, when I first woke up, I knew a lot of people that were using tarot cards and pendulums and yogi sticks and all. So I don't know what everybody was doing. And that's okay. I don't know, because that's like their wands and all this stuff. All this extra shit that you don't really need. Everything's in you. All of it. Every single thing. There's nothing you can get outside of you that is not in you already. You don't need a magic wand. Your words are your wand. Florence Scovel said it best. That is her book.
And it's true, though.
It's true.
That's the thing. It's not even that she said it. It is that she said it. That's nice.
It's exactly true. Your words create. It is a magic wand. Does. And you don't need to channel something. You don't need a pendulum to tell you your future, or none of that. And honestly, for me, when I look at it, the only time is now. We know that. And you're creating your future with your words this minute. So people are trying to look in a crystal ball to find out their future. But you're creating it. So why do you need to look to the future?
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
Whoa.
This is just, like, really, why are people sitting here paying thousands of dollars to people to read them? But if you just controlled your thoughts, you would just know what the future is going to be anyway.
Wow.
But people, and I know it's a foreign concept and not everybody, is into that. But there's nothing outside of you that you don't have in you. And even when you look at other people, like they did something for you, it was never them. It was you. You still had to show up for it. Like I had to learn that early on.
Yeah, because especially when you're coming from like kind of like a lower, unworthiness and like a maybe more poverty type of mindset. Right. It's almost like because just because somebody does something for you, you feel like you just indebt them your whole life.
You're not.
It's thank you. I really appreciate you.
Right.
I even love you. And let's move on. It's a raft. Why do I have to feel like I owe my whole life? I have to remember every single time because you did something for me. Because that's just keeping you in this whole like looking outside of yourself and wondering where your next thing is coming from. Instead of knowing, I'm just saying the difference between that and knowing that source is, you know what I'm saying? Like we are, a vessel. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it came through you. And then guess what? We came to this thought too, that you don't even own it.
Mm-mm. None of it.
You're just borrowing it yourself. You might think that you have all this stuff. I have this home, I have this so and so and so and so. But you're really just like borrowing it, honestly. It does not belong to you because the creator, like everything came from a thought. No matter how you slice it or dice it, it is a thought that came into fruition first. Your car, your house, the bricks that it made to build it, all that.
You had to think it first.
And it's so deep that we can read these books over and over and over again. I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. But when you do not grasp that concept and you bring it down to the minutest level, you will not understand what is being said. Because when you understand what's being said, you won't even it's not even a second thought.
No.
It's just a flow. You just be like, okay, boom. I hear what I'm supposed to do. Okay. It's like just a whole like thing that you do. Yeah. Like it's just something so different about it.
Well, even when you said with the prosperity book or the abundance book, whatever, we were like only a couple days in and you were like, we got to do it for another 40. And I was like, okay. Because I already know who's talking to me. That came through you to tell me that that's what we're doing. And I'm like, all right, so that's it.
But it's not for me. It's no, I'm just being
saying. Yeah, you're speaking it out. And I'm like, because for me, it's something I'm thinking to myself, are we supposed to, I'm always like, am I supposed to be doing
anyway?
Oh my God.
Like
tomorrow's day 40 already. And if you guys have been, I know some, we got some people that follow through and, click on the podcast and check it out every week. And we appreciate that so much.
Thank you so much.
But, as you guys have heard us talk, like, how did the last 40 days blow past like that?
No, for real.
And we're getting into another 40 days. So if anybody wants to join us with that, like, please do, because this abundance book.
I'm seeing different. I mean, it's not even like, oh, this book, right? Because it's still the same concept. It's the same thing that is source, right? And what if like that was just something I heard and I told you because you're facilitating the room, but it's still the fact that okay, what if somebody like came in and was like, dang, I missed it, or they think that they missed it. They really didn't grasp the concept. They really, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, she's doing it again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You never. So it's not even for me. It's not even for. It's not a thing. It's just what it is. It's just out there for whatever. For
and
whoever.
Even when the book came through, like the book came to me, and I've seen it a few times on TikTok, and this is how stuff comes to me. And I was like, burp, burp, and like, tossed it to the side. And then it kept coming up. And then I saw it again. And then finally, the one day, I couldn't ignore it anymore because it was basically like the thing should have just said, Melissa, read the book, So I'm like, all right, let me look at it. And then I put it on. I found the audio version. And 10 minutes in, my jaw was on the floor. I'm sending it to her. She's listening to it like, oh my God. And that was it.
Because the first line to me,
the whole thing, it was just
like, okay, if you don't believe
that abundance is like for you, you're like against God. That's like
For
that's
me,
how they start the book. Like that is how he starts the book.
that was the lines for me.
Because really, we're not supposed to be sitting here struggling. You're not supposed to be in lack. If you serve with like a leader, like you don't even have to be a leader. If you're a servant and you love to be good to people,
you're leading yourself though. That's the thing. I think the
yeah,
thing
like,
that people don't understand what leaders are.
Yeah, like you're leading you.
Because leaders lead leaders.
Yes. Yes. And it's literally leading yourself.
Yeah.
Like showing up for yourself. You don't have to, people don't realize too, like you don't have to have like a team of people you're leading.
No.
You lead yourself, and then other people are like, "Oh, well, look what she's doing," and you're an inspiration to people. But when you even do that, you're unlocking the beauty inside of you, and the abundance. When you raise your vibration and you raise your energy, you're automatically attracting this stuff to you, because people don't realize either. You're not chasing things. You're attracting them.
It's different.
It's totally, and that's a mindset flop. That's a boop, a literal
Makes
change.
me take a deep breath. Like I feel like relieved.
Yeah.
Just even thinking like that, like just what you just said, and me thinking how I used to think about. It's like this constant.
Like I have to do this. I have to do this. If you just do what you're supposed to do, and this is what I really, even on my Facebook, I'm like, it is about you. Nobody else. And if you do the inner work for yourself, you have no choice but to attract in what you need in your life. And it works in really crazy ways. Like let's say you have something that you're looking to do, like open a business or something. When you're raising your vibration and you're really like in tune with yourself, you're going to attract the people that you need to do this. Just like you're going to attract in the people that you need to carry on, like to your support system, because you're attracting. You're not, oh, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for my soul tribe. I'm looking for this. I'm looking. You're not supposed to look for anything. It will attract to you if you are doing the work and raising your vibration. You're going to get what you need. And it's so simple. And I know this was like foreign to me forever, ever. But that's why we constantly talk about stuff like this, because it's a mindset shift. And you don't have to stay where you're at. You can shift at any time. But it's a choice. It's a choice. And a lot of people don't want to choose because it takes a little bit of work. But I mean,
you have to be willing.
Look at what you could do, though.
Yeah.
You could still sit in the same miserable spot you're in, or you could create a whole new life. Like literally. Like a year ago, I wasn't doing any of this. I was at home making chicken nuggets for my children, and I wasn't on Clubhouse talking about all this type of stuff, spiritual things and connecting to my higher self. Like this wasn't a thing for me. But now I can't picture my life without doing these things, because I'm walking in my purpose. And I think that a lot of times no one knows they have a purpose at first. I only know because I asked. And that was it.
That's it. So deep. It's like if you really went and like asked my siblings and my just family, whatever, I've always been spiritual. I'm using quotation. I've always been like that, right? But it's just so funny for me to see somebody that like you're explaining about yourself, right? Really just grasp and really like feel it. It doesn't. You don't have to. There's no way that you have to go about it. That's what I'm saying. This thing here is like so free. Yes. You know what I mean? There's
no right or wrong.
No, it's not. It's not no
do it
hard,
this way.
No.
And people that are telling you have to do it a certain way.
Oh my God.
Those people run. Because there's no right or wrong.
No.
But
it's just you.
It's just you.
It's very tailor-made to you.
Like even the different things we talk about, self-love, aligning with your higher self, all these things are going to help you, but ultimately the journey is your journey. Like no one can tell you how to be on it. No one can tell you what to do on it. You can watch what other people are doing, right? But you don't want to take away from what you're doing.
Right. We all learn from each other. It's nothing wrong with that.
Having conversations like this is important. Talking about what you're going through, super important. Sharing your story, so important. But we're not carbon copies of each other. We're all individuals. You have to have it flow on your own thing. And I feel like, I know it's scary, but you got to do it eventually. You're going to have to.
Yeah.
You're going to have to eventually.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to.
So it's like you could either ease into it and kind of see like, all right, well, here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to be. What do I have to do in between here to get there? And maybe you don't know where you even want to go. Then you got to sit down and say, okay, what do I want from my life? And when you sit and listen, you will get an answer. It's really that simple.
And then don't wait on it. Just wait on it too. Don't forfeit it.
Well,
that's really
that part. Because a lot of times people, I think we've talked about this on here. The first thought is God's thought. That's your higher self thought. But if you don't act on it,
it's gonna be reduced down just to.
It's gonna be nothing. Nothing's gonna come of it. So taking the time, even if it's a little bit of action, it's better than zero action, and it gets the momentum building. But even, I know it's like these are foreign concepts to people, but it's really to let you know that it's possible. All of it, everything is possible. Yeah. And there's one affirmation that I love, and it's everything is possible in the here and now. Because it is. Because that's the only time is right this minute. So it's all possible. You just have to believe it. You have to walk it out. Like, there's something from Neville, I think. No, I'm sorry, from Bob Proctor. And it's ask, believe, receive. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Ask, believe, yeah.
It's that simple.
But think about the Diamond Sutra. Subhuti's asking.
He's getting his answers.
Believing it.
Yep.
Receiving it. And it's one, of course, but it's like it's showing you the 3D, 4D, 5D right there.
Yep.
It's showing you the formula right there. That's all it is. It's not like that's another thing. I just can't. I'm telling you, it's so much that I really have just realized and understand more. It's not all these things that we're putting out. It's not just it's not a religion. It's not it's just for this nationality people.
No.
Or what are you doing listening to that? Or what are you doing reading that? Or all that type of stuff. No. It is an activation in you to start the process of that formula that's going to work for you.
Right.
Yeah. That has been hidden from us. Even in religion, even when you think that you're supposed to be able to go somewhere to have some type of refuge, that you're getting rerouted the other way because you're not even breaking down what this is saying. This is like, now you have me in this, like, I'm not stepping on nobody's toes about what they believe. Whatever you believe is what you believe. But just the matter of you going outside of yourself for something.
Right.
That's a problem. Right. That's a problem. Period.
Yeah.
Period. And that's the thing, like because how come this concept is not just something I'm just using? Think about it. If you activate that with your own self and you start letting that whole thing go with you and then gaining momentum, you're not going to look outside yourself for nothing.
Nope.
And that's the problem for people, because then they cannot usurp what is already for you.
Right.
Your abundance is already inside of you. I'm sorry. That's the whole thing, and that's the bottom line.
Well, that's like
that's just
because I feel like when you go to places or wherever, and I'm gonna say church because for me it was church. I was going to church to look for something. But then when I found what I was looking for and realized it was inside of me, I didn't have to go to a building to validate what I thought. I didn't have to praise, a particular entity
Mm-hmm.
or a god, any of these things as something because I saw that it was not outside of me. And even though I know for some people, like they like the community of these places, and that's great.
That's cool.
However, for myself, I was like, all right, well, I want to be around more people that know that everything's within them versus people that were still looking for like this guidance that really was within them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a whole
topic. Yeah, because I have something to say about that. But I'm not going to go into that because it doesn't have to be churches. It could be
anywhere.
Just
anywhere. It could be a friend group.
Thank you. And I've dealt with so many of those things. And whatever lesson I needed to learn from those things, I think I finally got it.
I think I got it this time. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, we're doing a whole podcast episode about that particular subject because really it's something that plagues people.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, like I said, it doesn't have to just be church. It doesn't have to just be anything in particular. It could be a friend group. It could be family members. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get that hive mentality
mm-hmm.
and you leverage people's emotions in order to manipulate them,
mm-hmm.
it's almost like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever seen, it was called NXIVM, and it was like a whole cult, and it was like spiritual and all this stuff, and then the guy was like sleeping with everybody and manipulating everybody, and it happens. I get it because people are looking for a leader, but you gotta just lead yourself. You don't have to go lead countries or lead, small teams of people. Just lead yourself. But this man took that and he used that to his advantage and really broke these people down. He really broke people down. It was terrible.
Oh, believe me, I've been there. It's like I've been in so many different things. I can't wait to talk about it because I'm so grateful that I'm where I am today. Honestly. Because sometimes I don't even know how I was going to make it through.
It's deep.
So.
Deep.
And I just imagine that being like people's thing and then they really don't make it. I mean,
no,
you know what I mean? That's a problem.
Yeah. And they get stuck up under people. They can't break out of the cycle. They keep doing the same thing over and over. And they're like, I don't understand. Why is this still happening? But it's still happening because you're doing the same thing over and over. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get it because I used to do it. So I get that piece of it.
That's the only way you're going to really know if you used to do it.
You have to be going through something.
If you did it. I mean.
And that's really the thing, too. Like, even with your higher self. Like, it's something that you have to do. Tapping in is something you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Listening is something you have to do. Trusting, you have to. Like, there's nothing anybody could do for you. So, my word of advice is you don't need to pay people thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to tell you how to be you. Show up and listen to yourself and start trusting. Why would you guide yourself wrong? Why would you steer yourself in the wrong direction? You wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
So take it one day at a time. Show up, take it one day at a time. It's not an overnight thing. A little bit each day, and it literally adds up to massive results.
Yeah.
Literally. And it's, like I said, it's not overnight. You're not going to just be like, boop, and ta-da, and here we are. It takes time. It takes work. It takes, going within, healing up things that you didn't know need to be healed, and really looking at yourself. But once you do that, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, and all the things that you really need to get through that will, like you said, will be magnified.
Literally come right to you.
It does. Yep.
Oh my goodness. So we're gonna wind it down because I think next week we're gonna discuss this. I don't know what to call it. What do we call this? What we're gonna talk about? Preying on people's emotions. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna call it.
Outside hurt. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know what we're gonna call it. We're gonna title it something, but we're gonna talk about how when you're looking outside of yourself, how you can get into situations that are really detrimental to you. And you become very hurt because of it and hold a lot of, we had said earlier church hurt, but it's not just church.
No,
it's organizations, it's people, it's friends. It's not just church. So I don't know the right name for it right now, but we're going to think of it. I promise you.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back next Thursday.
Yes.
So thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We're glad that you could join us. I still can't believe we're sitting here together.
I know, this is so funny.
Oh, and I don't know if you guys could see, but we got our little podcast shirts on. So if anybody wants some of the merch, there's all different styles. We're going to make the website. We're going to get it together this weekend. Get the website up. We're going to put the merchandise on. We wanted to order the shirts first, see how they were, see how they fit. We didn't want to send you some janky stuff, so we wanted to make sure we got it and made sure. I even washed them first to make sure that they wash good in the wash.
Yeah.
So,
it's really good.
Yeah, right? I thought they were good. Yeah. So if anybody wants merchandise, we're going to hook you up. And maybe we'll even do a giveaway. I like giveaways. I'm just saying. Yeah. So we love you guys and thank you for joining us.
Love y'all.
And have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.